Good afternoon, ladies.
Ma'am, please.
Where we actually remember him still very, very fondly. No further introduction. Each one of you knows.
Ma'am, please. Ma'am, please. Excuse me. Yes, please.
Can I invite Vinita Bimbet? Please we plant trees in your names rather than giving you flowers. May I now invite Geeta Bushra-ji, President Room, to give the welcome address and also introduce the panelists.
Dr. Meera Mitra, Padma Vibhushan Dr. Sonal Mansinghji, Shalini Singh, Archana Garodia Gupta, Vinita Bimbet, Poonam Sharma, past presidents of flow members. A very hearty welcome to the distinguished panel we have amidst us today. Can we have a big round of applause for our distinguished? I'm very happy that Flo is discussing today on the topic breaking through India's stories of beating the odds on poverty, as this is in line with the Flow's adage, power to empower. Across our chapters, Pan India Flow has been imparting skills training in diverse trades and sectors to thousands of women and youth of the country. This has enabled them to break free from the shackles of adversity and poverty through gainful employment opportunities. At the annual session this year in April, we will be honoring the success stories created by the chapters on the skill development initiatives. Last year, Flo also published a compendium of 150 short stories of unsung women entrepreneurs at the grassroots who have been significantly contributing to the country's growth and development despite their own limitations. Coming back to the program, I would like to quote Mr. Nelson Mandela. Everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated and passionate about whatever they do. Everyone present here would definitely relate to this quote. Friends, when adversity comes our way, how we respond to that difficulty is much more important than what has happened to us. It is our response that determines who we are to become. If we are to progress, life will likely get more difficult. The more daunting the challenges and the greater the apparent obstacles, the most potential there is for personal growth. Albert Einstein once said, in the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. Many problems aren't problems at all. They are just challenges whose solutions have yet to be realized. Breaking Through India's Stories of Beating the Odds on Poverty has been authored by Dr. Meera Mitra that features people from all corners of the country who have overcome the odds and managed to lift themselves out of poverty. But it is more than just a collection of their stories. The book's subtle narrative, and one that's perhaps more important, is one that shows how the levels of the system could be worked to struggle for existence. There are stories of Dalits, small traders, marginal farmers, and roadside vendors who work the system to climb up the economic ladder. I'm sure today's discussion with our renowned panel will definitely bring these issues out and debate with suggestions and bringing forward the views. I would like to introduce our distinguished panelists. Dr. Meera Mitra. Dr. Meera Mitra has a PhD from the Delhi School of Economics. She's a sociologist and development specialist. She taught at GMC Delhi University, Millsville University, and Franklin and Marshall College. She has also been in consultancy research in India and in the USA. She has worked as an independent consultant for over a decade. Meera's previous book is Only Business, India's Corporate Social Responsiveness in a Globalized World. A very, very warm welcome to Meera ji and the long association that we have with you and your family. Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Sonal Mansinghji, the iconic cultural personality of India. She's acknowledged as master of cultural interpretations and explaining interlinkages with philosophy, literature, sculpture, and mythological parables through lecture and dance. She has performed given lectures and conducted workshops in 91 countries of the world. A celebrated dancer, Sonal has been unique among dancers who mastered multiple Indian dance forms from various different parts of India like Odissi and Bharatanatyam and other dance styles including Kuchipudi and Chhau. Her concern for nagging issues of ecological imbalance, environmental protection, empowerment of women and social justice, especially for weaker sections of the society, have led to creation of numerous path-breaking choreographies. She is India's one of the greatest cultural ambassadors and also a person who is actively engaged in spreading the message on women and society through dance. A very warm welcome to you, Sonal Mansinghji, to our program. Young and beautiful Shalini Singh. Shalini Singh, senior journalist and former deputy editor with The Hindu, is an award-winning journalist who has worked for 19 years in India with its largest and most powerful media brands, The Hindu, The Times of India, TV Today Network, and The Economic Times. Widely acknowledged as one of the single largest sources of corruption in the developing world, her exposures have revealed the involvement of elected representatives, senior bureaucrats, and big businesses in these decisions. Of the many exposures credited to Shalini include the INR 1.76 trillion, $40 billion 2G telecom spectrum scam. She doesn't believe in small numbers. $35 billion coal scam referred to as Coal Gate, Vadra Gate, the shady land deals of Congress President. I refrain to say that. Haryana Chief Minister B.S. Huda's largesse in licensing 22,000 acres of land to first-time builders at the cost of poor farmers. Shalini has received the Prem Bhatia Memorial Award for Excellence in Political Reporting and Analysis in 2013. The Indian Council for UN Relations presented her with an award for an investigative work on March 10, 2014. Flo is indeed honored to have you here with us. And the beauty is, when she was just talking to her, she says that when I talk to someone, because there is truth, so much fact inside me, it all gets exposed. You know, and she said there's a trickling effect, as in there are beneficiaries from the law firms to so many others. This is what she had to say. So indeed, Flo is very honored to have you all amongst us today. And I would like to thank Poonam Sharma, a governing body member, for hosting the event today. And I would also like to thank the invaluable support of the Secretariat, headed by Dr. Manju Kalra Prakash, in making Flo happen. Thank you so much for each and every one of you. And with that, I hand over to
Good afternoon, Neetaji, Ms. Archana Garodia, Poonam Sharma, Manju Kalra, and my distinguished panel who's here, which Sonalji and Shalini Singh, and the wonderful family of Vicky and Flo. Let me say how wonderful it is for me to come here today, because it's like homecoming, you know, in a way. And, but I should also say that probably not many of you saw me around in Vicky when I was here. And this is certainly my first visit to Flo and being on the Flo panel. So this is indeed a very special occasion for me. And I thank you all for coming. And I am amidst thought leaders, and I am amidst social innovators also, because I used to hear about the many women entrepreneurs who also have their own development work going on. So I'm here to learn as much as I'm here to tell you something about my book. So I've been told that I should initiate the discussion, and so maybe I'll tell you just very briefly where it is on the book, and then I would encourage my panelists who are such distinguished people in their own sphere to say something
Can
about.
I just interrupt? You, when you're speaking, do say what made you think of writing such a book?
Sure.
Why, when, and
Yeah.
how, and where do you want to go with further?
Sure. Okay. Let me say that there was a lot of discourse on poverty, as you know, especially since after 1991, when liberalization took place. There was this big discourse saying, is it really helping our poor? And that has been there for some time, and in 2013, that discourse became very shrill, and people were arguing on both sides that, this poverty is not really coming down, and some people were saying, no, it has come down. And we had government data, a lot of it, which showed that, in fact, poverty numbers had come down, and that growth was not antithetical to poverty reduction, that the two could go together. And that is what, seemed like a logical kind of thing to say, because when you have growth, you have more resources. People pay taxes, you have more resources, and you can get those resources out in various programs in order to bring the rest of society with you. Because obviously when you carry the whole society with you, that is the way that you can have progress in the country. If you leave out large sections, then there will be inequality, and there will be chaos, and there will be friction, and all the good things that everybody wants to do, either the poor or anybody else, cannot really happen. So this kind of discourse, Dr. Kalra has very kindly asked me this question, this kind of discourse, had been taking place, and I was interested in writing something about it. But the numbers were floating in and out all over the place. So we had we had so many committees related to poverty, right from 1962. But the Tendulkar committee, which started giving estimates of poverty, particularly came under a kind of focus. And in fact, at the end of it, became a political issue also. And at the end of it, the Planning Commission was forced to give an affidavit in Supreme Court saying, these numbers which you are talking about, how many people are below the poverty line, how much your poverty has come down from 37.2% to 37.12% to 29.7%, in a matter of 2004 to 2011. So that has released 138 million, not just 1 million or 2 million, but 138 million people out of poverty. So, that was a dramatic statement to make, and there were lots of academics and others who debated that statement and said, look at your poverty lines, 47 rupees a day, or 26 rupees a day in the urban area, 47 in the rural area. These are not, at all, this is not really a poverty line to speak of. This is a destitution line. But whatever said and done, when you look at the data previous and compared to the data that was there right now, it was clear that whatever the line that you use, and there is a subjective element to it, there were some people moving out of that earlier system. Whether we should have had a higher line or not, that's a different debate. And perhaps as we become more, as a nation we grow, that those lines are revised, and it has been revised even in our country from time to time. So anyway, so this is a story about numbers. I wanted to write a book, Dr. Kalra's question, that I wanted to write a book which goes beyond the numbers. Because we know what the numbers are. I want to understand what is happening behind those numbers. What are the processes by which these poor people who are coming out of poverty, let's look at them. I'm not going to look at the people who are still in poverty, although that's a very important role. This 135 million have come out of poverty,